Good evening once again, friends of Old Time Radio. The Riverside Township radio players, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Tonight we have two special recreations for you. Our second show is a comedy about a couple that decided that living in the suburbs was the ideal dream. Real-life husband and wife couples were very popular in the 1940s, with such couples as Phil Harris and Alice Faye, Benita and Ronald Coleman, Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, and Ozzie and Harriet Nelson. It seemed to reason that a show that would have Cary Grant and Betsy Drake, based upon the Mr. Blandings and Mrs. Blandings movie about building their dream home, would be a successful series. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. This series lasted only 6 months in 1951. However, before that series disappears into oblivion, we will bring you one of the episodes about Mr. Blandings trying to celebrate their anniversary. But first, our opening show is that detective for hire, Sam Spade, whose radio adventures ran from 1946 to 1951. Most people may forget that Sam was actually born in 1930 in a crime classic written by Dashiell Hammett, and that was The Maltese Falcon. When the gruff detective came to the airwaves, the director of the show was looking for someone in the Humphrey Bogart mold, and he was actually not very impressed with Howard Duff's audition. But it wasn't until the director's wife actually championed Howard Duff that the director finally consented to give him the role. A few years later, when Dashiell Hammett and Howard Duff ran into some difficulties with the House Committee on Un-American Activities and the NBC network threatened to drop the show, there was a wave of protests. And the show did continue, but with Steve Dunn playing the role of Spade. Needless to say, that was the final season for this show. There was no other Sam Spade on the radio. It was, and still is, Howard Duff. So today, of course, we all remember Howard Duff as the original radio Sam Spade, with Lorene Tuttle as his adoring, slightly ditzy secretary. So here's tonight's case, the Prodigal Daughter Caper. Let's listen in.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective, brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart.
Oh, Sam, it must be telepathy. I was just thinking of you. You know, sometimes I think I can tell what you're thinking.
That's an invasion of my privacy.
Oh, when two people are as close as you and I think that often you can almost read one another's minds.
Well, you may be right. I can see what you're doing all the way from here.
What?
Put those paper clips back where you found them.
Certainly, Sam.
Oh, not that. You've purloined pencils, absconded with erasers, pilfered stationery, filched stamps from your personal use.
Oh, I only write to Mother when there's nothing else to do around the office.
Besides making unit phone calls and charging them to me, you've tapped the petty cash drawer for lunch money.
But, Sam...
And you've been filling your pen with company ink.
Well, I didn't think you'd mind. I'll pay it all back.
But I have a big heart and boundless compassion. Stay where you are, sweetheart. I'll be down with my unlimited generosity and with your back salary.
Really, Sam?
And 2 tickets for us to go to the fights tonight, and dinner, and last but by no means least, my stirring and vivid report on the Prodigal Daughter Caper.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end. with the adventures of Sam Spade, presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. Here's a smart resolution to make, first day on the job after your summer vacation. From now on, every single day, I'm going to pay special attention to the way I look. I'm going to use Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Yes, folks, smart's the word for that resolution. For Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose dandruff. It helps give you that successful look that's so important to getting ahead. So if you've never tried Wild Root Cream Oil, get the 25-cent Get Acquainted bottle. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, again and again, the choice of men and women and children too. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Sam Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Where are you now that I need you? Effie!
Yes, sir. Oh, hi, Sam. Hiya, Sam.
Come on, bring your book. Got a pencil? We gotta hurry if we're gonna make the fights, you know.
Well, I've got one of those new retractor kind of pencils.
Well, get the lead out.
Are you really going off the post, Sam?
It's Madman McShelly versus Chuckface McDuffie in the main event. Ready?
McDuffie sounds like an MP.
McShelly what?
Aim and fire, Sam. PBF.
F, you've been out with somebody else, a military man.
Why, how did you ever know?
Date, August 28, 1949. I don't know whether we'll go out or not.
You're clairvoyant.
To Dr. Albert Kensington from Samuel Spade.
I only had a Coke with him, Sam. He was on furlough and we just...
And license number 137596.
And he was from Elkhart, Indiana. And I used to live in Pleasant Lake and...
Down.
But we had so much to talk about.
Down, Effie. Subject, Helen Scully of a prodigal daughter. A Coke yet. Dear Doctor... Everyone in San Francisco knows the Castle Pipe Hill House that Casper Scully lived in, even if they didn't know him. When I got there, there was an all-black 49 convertible in the driveway. And a slightly smaller, same color, a Russian wolfhound wearing a spiked collar and expression to match. He broke his chain when he saw me and ran in the back of the house. That should have told me something. But I plunged the doorbell and was admitted by a butler named Stanley, who left me standing in a draft in the library, looking at a cold television set. I pulled up my coattail and took a plant in front of the fireplace and lit a cigarette. Pretty soon, things started.
Oh, will you stop it? Father, stop treating me like a child.
A blonde girl in a yellow suit was having a one-sided argument with a gray-haired man in a gray suit. Nobody paid any attention to me.
All that stuff about you forbid it and it can't go on. Well, let me tell you, it can go on. Just as long as I want it to. Oh, and there's nothing you can do about it. So don't, whatever you do, don't try to interfere. Oh, stop it! That hurt look again. I've seen it too often, and I'm sick of it. Do you hear me? I'm sick of it!
He looked mad, but he didn't say anything. I saw them walk around the garden once, shake fists at each other, and finally part. He disappeared up a narrow stairway, and she came storming back into the library.
Who are you?
How do you do?
Who are you?
Sam Spade, I was...
What are you doing here?
Well, waiting to talk to Mr. Scully,
I just talked to him, and he isn't very nice. Let me tell you that.
Yes, but I...
Well, he's a nasty, stubborn, bull-headed old man, and you won't like him.
Yes, but I was...
And nobody likes him. So go back to where you came from, whatever your name is. I'm the nicest person you're gonna meet around this place.
Yes, but
Well, don't wait around. Oh, goodbye.
But I did wait around, talked to Kensington, and I did talk to Mr. Scully when you came in the room with him. Only Mr. Scully did not talk back to me. He glared at me through black, smoldering eyes, sniffed the air, frowned at my cigarette. I frowned back.
Mr. Spade, I'm Dr. Kensington. I wrote you the letter. This is Mr. Scully. Mr. Scully suffered a severe accident many years ago that affected his throat and his respiratory tract, the smoke.
Of course, I understand, Doctor. Sorry, Mr. Scully, I didn't...
Oh, yes. Thank you, Spade. This is not generally known, but the unfortunate accident in the chemical plant also robbed Mr. Scully of his vocal powers.
I see.
Yes, the modern doctor, the physician of today is a far cry from the general practitioner of yesteryear. Today, we must know the mind, the psychological quirks, he must follow through completely on a case. Sometimes, as I am today, a confidant, an executive officer for his patient, he is a friend, to say the least, eh?
Oh, yeah, to say the least.
Eh? Oh, of course, Mr. Scully, to the point, of course. Sit down, Spade. Now then, Mr. Scully, as you well know, the world knows, has made several fortunes in his lifetime, and he didn't accomplish this by allowing people to run roughshod over him. But Mr. Scully, I'm just backgrounding Mr. Spade. Please be patient. Now, Mr. Scully intends leaving his daughter Helen his entire fortune, a great deal of money, to say the least.
To say the least, but Helen doesn't care about money. She's foolish, young, headstrong, and impetuous.
Yeah?
I heard her arguing with Mr. Scully a bit on the,
Now, Mr. Scully. We'll straighten all this out. Mr. Spade will help us. Well, then, Mr. Spade, you have half the problem right there. She is a headstrong, impetuous girl, and lately she's done several things to displease her father. Right, Mr. Scully? There, you see, Mr. Spade?
I gather that much, but what kind of things?
Helen's been singing in a cheap nightclub called the Blue Goose.
What?
Oh, it's very embarrassing.
Low class, huh?
Yes. There's a man named Torpy. He owns the club.
A man named Chick Torpy?
Ah, you know of him.
I've heard of him.
Contrary to all her father's wishes, Helen insists on seeing this man Torpy.
Uh-huh. How old is she?
Well, that's beside the point, Mr. Spade. But a sordid affair now might rob her of a future of wealth and security. Mr. Scully's at the point of exasperation. He might well change his will over this matter. Correct, Mr. Scully? At best, this is an embarrassing situation and most indiscreet of Helen to have brought it about.
So I'm supposed to go talk to Chick Torpy, is that it?
In a word, yes. Well, you sound rather reluctant, Mr. Spade.
Chick Torpy's a little too old for the Boy Scouts.
Well, we want you to see him. Find out how much he'll take to stop seeing her.
Tell me, what happens if Torpy isn't for sale?
Oh, everyone has a price, Mr. Spade. Matter of character. You get paid for work like this. What's your price?
Yeah, that reminds me. $50 a day in expenses. 5 days guaranteed, to say the least.
Of course, to say the least.
And Mr. Scully, I happen to have a standard client's contract with me here. If you'll just sign on both pages, I'm sure that we can...
Never mind, Mr. Spade, not now. Mr. Scully will mail it to you later today. Oh, dear. Mr. Scully's fatigued. Well, you'll contact me as soon as you have any information for us.
I said I would. Mr. Scully sounded a final cough, and I left the two of you in the library. It was interesting meeting this voiceless tycoon who must have made and broken many a man with just a nod of his head or the shrug of his shoulders. The famed black dog with the same spiked collar was still outside the house doing the same things.
Spade. Mr. Spade?
But something new had been added. A pair of well-tailored shoulders, diamond stick pin, and a gray felt hat with a snap brim.
Hello, Spade. You don't know me.
No, wait a minute. There's something about a guy in a lineup. You're Dapper Danny Cavillo. When did you get out of Folsom, Danny?
A while back. They gave me a kind of rain check.
Uh-huh. Wouldn't that 38 make you a parole breaker?
Oh, is that showing?
Unless your ribs grow in different directions.
Sam, I'm here to save you a lot of trouble.
What trouble are you here to save me?
You want to see Chick Torpy, don't you? You've got business to talk with him, no?
News gets around fast, Danny.
No. It's just that Chick had been expecting somebody like you from the old man, and, well, I'm here to see that you see him. So why don't you kind of get in the car?
And I kinda did. Then he smiled, lit a cigarette, shifted his shoulder holster so he could shift gears better, and drove me back across town to an apartment house on LaSalle, the Metropolitan. A good-looking guy who stood about 6'4", black hair, answered the door.
Hello, Chick. May I present Sam Spade? Sam Spade, meet Chick Torpy.
That'll do it, Danny. Thanks. Hello, Spade. Come on in.
See ya, gentlemen.
Danny's Gabby.
Hello, Chick. Your taxi service always free?
Just when I'm in a hurry to get things settled, soldier. You saw the old man today, huh?
I saw him and talked to his doctor, Kensington.
All right. You're here to tell me how worried the old man is, right?
If you're talking about Helen and you, yes. You're bad company.
Yeah. What else?
He wants you to stop seeing her.
Well, suppose I don't want to stop seeing her. Suppose I told you I love her.
Let's see. She comes into $3 million when he kicks. You love her.
I'd be crazy if I didn't.
I wonder what she'd say if she heard you say that.
Why don't you ask her, Spade?
Huh?
Helen?
Hello, Mr. Spade. I told you to leave my house today, but you didn't listen.
Convinced, Spade?
Well, I'm wondering anyway.
Well, maybe this'll help. When you get back to my father, tell him I think Chick would be a fool to brush me off. Tell him that one day I expect to inherit all that wonderful money that he spent a lifetime making. Tell him that Chick's tired of working. Got all that?
Yep.
How do you feel, Spade?
Like I'm earning my fee.
You've already earned it, Spade. There's no use trying. I've told him myself, and now you can tell him. She's not for sale, and I'm not for sale. Got it?
Got it.
All right, then you're finished here. Hello. Oh, you. Well, I'm not sure I want to talk to him, and...
And it was on that happy note, Doctor, that I went downstairs, found a drugstore, and tried to phone you and tell you what Torpy had said. Your line was busy, and when I was waiting for it to get unbusy, I spotted Chuck Torpy out in front. He looked madder than when I had left him, and there was a bulge in his coat that hadn't been there before. He got into a black sedan near the curb, and I hailed a cab and followed him across town up to Nob Hill. A half block from the Scully residence, I left my taxi and took the rest on foot. He was still a couple hundred feet ahead of me as he disappeared into the garden entrance. I heard a cry for help, and then... Chick was standing over something on the ground. When he saw me, he scrambled for a break in the hedge. I stopped long enough to have a look at the body he'd left. My client. He still had gray hair, and he was still wearing the gray suit, but half his face had been shot away.
The makers of Wildroot Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Remember, non-alcoholic Wildroot Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the generous, new 25-cent size of Wildroot Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods stores. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wildroot Cream Oil too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wildroot Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children too. And now, back to the Prodigal Daughter Caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
The 5-day contract arrived in the morning mail, signed by Casper Scully. The headlines were no surprise. Chick Torpy sought in shooting a multi-millionaire. Item, ballistics matched up slugs taken from body with weapon owned and licensed to one Chick Torpy. And item 2, because of a city ordinance regarding disposition, the body of Casper Scully, found off the immediate premises of his home, had been removed to the city morgue and would remain there until claimed by the nearest of kin.
Hey, Sammy, me boy, good to look on ya.
Hello, Maxie.
What brings you, Sam?
Scully's dead.
Oh, yeah. Checked him back in. Autopsy. Where you in with this, Sam? Do you know Scully?
I just met him yesterday.
Well, like I say to you before, you do collect queer ones. Hey, Sam? Woohoo, such a mess. Woohoo, such a mess.
Yeah, I know. I found him. They tell me he has to be claimed.
City ordinance, Sam, nearest of kin.
That'll be his daughter, Helen. She called or anything?
No, not yet, but to get back to him, a real queer one maybe tops this season.
How so?
Barbarianism, Sam, that's what it is. The world is moving backwards. You get deader than dead.
Huh?
You think the slugs in his chest would be enough, but no. 4 also in the head, too. Killed him twice.
Say it again, Maxie. You mean that...
Twice, Sammy. In the chest, maybe 20 to 30 hours ago. In the head, maybe 12 hours later. You see what I mean?
I saw what he meant. I didn't like what I saw, but things did begin to make some sense. In the morgue, I found the Chronicle office confirmed that Scully did suffer from the throat ailment, was publicity shy, was never interviewed or photographed for that reason. I asked them if they had a specimen of his handwriting by any chance, and they did. I had it sent to me by special messenger, and the signature compared to the one on my 5-day contract with Mr. Scully made interesting reading. But what was even more interesting was the DOA Maxie was ushering in.
As I was saying, Sam, it's awful the way these homicides are turning up nowadays. If gray suits, it's fashionable now.
Hey.
What's the matter, Sam, you know?
Yeah, I know. What's it say?
The tow tag says, unidentified, accidental drowning, found off Pier 14, time 8:15 this a.m.
Accidental drowning?
You don't think so? Why do you think he's dead?
I think he's dead because he didn't cough when the doctor asked him to. I left Maxie to his newest customer and looked up the police officer who found the unidentified man. All they had on him was New York clothing labels and a silver identification bracelet with the name Julio engraved on it between two small indentations of the comedy tragedy drama mask. It wasn't much, but it took me to a theater on Post Street featuring a special company of Spanish actors on tour.
I am the manager of the company. What is it, please?
I'm sorry to trouble you. I'm trying to locate a certain man. I have good reason to believe he's with your company.
We are a small group. His name, please?
One name might be Julio.
Oh, Julio Cesar Bescar. He's
Gray-haired, medium build?
You're from the police?
No.
If you are looking for Julio Cesar Bescar, why are you not from the police? 2 days ago, Julio, who does not speak any English, he's asked, of all things, to appear on the
Television?
Yes, television program. He read his lines, I am proud, but yesterday morning, a man on the telephone, they speak, and Julio goes out to someplace with no word. I too am looking out for him. We missed his performance this afternoon.
I see.
He drinks too much sometimes, I know, and Mr. Believe me, where he is this, I do not know. But if you find him...
I have found him.
You have found?
Does he have a wife?
I am the Senora Cesar Bescar. What is it, senor? What has happened to my husband?
You'd better get your coat, Mrs. Cesar Bescar. I went back to the morgue with Mrs. Cesar Bescar, doctor, and after that I went over to the Blue Goose Club.
How are you, Spade?
Tired, Danny boy. Tired.
Well, come on in and relax.
Thanks. Nice place. You run it for Chick?
When he's away,
Seen Chick lately?
2 sets of cops, 3 reporters have been here asking the same question already this morning. What are you trying to prove?
Chick's in trouble. You're his partner.
Uh-huh. Nah, he got himself into this one, Spade. Look, we make a nice dollar running this place. It's legitimate, and no cop's gonna raid us or close us up. Chick started fooling around with that Scully woman, and I told him just once, it's dynamite, I said. You know how the old man is. Let bygones be bygones. But Chick didn't listen.
Tell me about the bygones that should be bygones and why Chick should know how the old man is.
Well, Scully set him up 5 years ago. Didn't you know?
No, I didn't.
Oh, Chick owns the property south of Brosito, and Scully wanted it for oil drilling or something. Chick asked too much, and Scully figured a way to get it from him in court. Had it condemned or something.
Uh-huh.
Well, Chick got kind of sore. He met the old man on the street one day, and, well, they convicted Chick of attempted murder. 2.5 years.
And Chick looked up Scully's daughter when he got out of prison and started making love to her to get even.
Why, yeah, Spade, that's just the way it started. Only Chick was the sucker after all. He really went for the creature. He married her 3 weeks ago in Reno. The poor sap.
Anybody else know about that part of it?
Only me. I was best man.
By the way, Danny, did you wrap Julio Cesar Bescar over the head last night and toss him into the bay?
Who's Julio, whatever his name is?
An actor who happened to look something like Old Man Scully, enough like him to keep his mouth closed when I was there, but who might want to open it later.
I don't know what you're talking about, Spade.
Didn't think you would.
But I don't like it.
Yeah, boss.
Yeah.
Timmy, Joe, throw this bum out. I'm sick of looking at him.
And they did. It was 2 against 1. I'd been up late the night before. I was doing very well, though, until somebody stooped to a form of subterfuge I have long since grown to hate. I was borne on 2 swarthy shoulders out of the club and into the open air. I was on a balcony and a good stiff sea breeze was blowing. I didn't enjoy it long.
1, 2, 3, heave!
The water was cold, but refreshing, and I managed the 5 feet to shore, and that was my limit. I hung onto a slippery piling which supported the Blue Goose above and partially hid the antechamber in front of me. It had been a wine cellar once on a loading dock, I suspected, during Prohibition. This time it was a hideout.
Keep your hands up, Spade. Close the door.
Chick, please.
Keep out of this, Ellen.
You're crazy, Torpy. You've got this all wrong.
Oh, Mr. Spade's right.
There's probably a $5,000 reward out for me. Right now, they want me dead or alive, and you're here to tell me how wrong I am. Well, I'll be dead, Spade. They'll never take me, and you aren't going to.
Oh, listen to reason, please.
I've listened to all the reason I'm going to listen to. From now on, I'm doing things my way, see? I've got nothing to lose now. I'm getting out of here.
But Chick, you
So long, baby.
Oh, don't leave.
He leaned over to kiss her goodbye, and that's when I rediscovered that my wet revolver, even though it wouldn't fire, still had plenty of power left.
Oh, Mr. Spade, thank you. Thanks for doing that.
As you know, Doctor, I turned Chick Torpy over to the police, along with Danny Cavello, and took Helen Scully home. She ran upstairs with many tears, and I met you in the library. You seemed relieved when you heard that Torpy had been apprehended. However, I had some other questions to ask. You answered.
All right, Spade, all right. I suppose it'll all come out anyway. 2 nights ago, Chick Torpy came to the house to have it out with Mr. Scully. He told him about their marriage. There was an argument. I was the only one in the house. I heard shots, ran in the room, and found Mr. Scully dead. The marriage certificate was in his hand. I knew this would involve Helen, and so did what I thought I did. Oh, it was a nightmare. I hid the body, hoping to find a way. Perhaps a death certificate on accidental shooting or something.
In other words, you were helping Torpy get away with murder.
Yes. I was thinking only of Helen. Her father did love her.
But you'd already sent a letter to me. You knew I'd be here the next morning. You'd seen an actor on a television program. He resembled Scully. You hired him for the job. You told Helen that Chick had killed her father and told her what kind of acting she had to do.
Oh, it was crude, perhaps. But I didn't want you to become suspicious when a death report did show up. I intended to hire you and fire you.
Only it didn't work out. I followed Torpy here and found the body.
I've been such a fool, Spade. Helping a man get away with murder. I want to confess it all. I suppose this will make me an accessory to murder.
Not exactly.
You mean there's a way out?
There's a way out, and you were going to take it.
What?
I was over to your apartment before I came here. You're all moved out. The doorman told me your luggage has been at the station all morning. What'd you do? Come here to rifle the safe?
Now see here, Spade.
Stop it. You were waiting around to see if they took Torpy dead or alive. Dead, he couldn't talk and you'd be okay. Alive, you're ready to blow town. You bumped Scully.
No!
Get back there. Then you did your best to hang it on a chick. Helen thought he really did it and played along with you. You're not an accessory to murder. You're a murderer on a double count. That actor was knocked on the head before he drowned.
Now, just a minute, Spade. This can be fixed if you...
Shut up! Period. End of report.
Sam, I don't understand.
What, Angel?
I don't understand, Sam.
What?
Well, you say you turned Chick Torpy over to the police, yet Dr. Kensington was the murderer.
A formality, F. He'll be released and cleared in short order. Anything else?
Oh, yes. Yes, what about Danny Cavello?
An innocent bystander.
But he had you beat up and knocked on the head.
And he's already made amends. Those, tickets to the fight.
But,
No more questions, F. Plant this up and I'll give you the happy ending.
And now, listen to this. School days will soon be here, mothers. To make sure Junior's hair is always neat and well-groomed, get after those cowlicks and stray strands with Wild Root Cream Oil, the famous hair tonic that grooms the hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. And remind Dad to ask his barber for a professional application of Wild Root Cream Oil hair tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children too.
ooh, look, Sam, look.
What is it?
Look, Sam, look.
All right, I shall rephrase the question. What? Oh, I see. You mean the Look magazine, huh?
They sent an advance copy. It's not even out till next Tuesday.
What's it doing here?
I want to look at them. See these?
Who? Who are we looking at here?
That's Sam Spade.
What?
From the radio, you know, Howard Duff. He plays you on the radio.
Howard Duff? Why don't I play it on the radio?
You're not the type, I guess.
Look here. Sam Spade dictating to Effie. Hey, she's not bad, you know, not bad.
Oh, really? Kind of actressy, I thought.
Why is that?
Lorene Tuttle. Lorene Tuttle. I can't stand that name. So actressy.
As Bill Spear, Spade's producer, gives final instructions. Look at him. He has 9 o'clock shadow.
That's encouraging.
Well, come on. Let's get out of here. Go to the fights.
Oh, Sam.
Huh?
Then I can't say it.
Say what?
Well, if you're taking me to the fights, I can't very well leave and say, good night, Sam. You know,
Well, you can try. It's expected, you know.
All right. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade was written for radio by E. Jack Newman, musical direction by Lud Bleskin, with score composed by Pierre and Renee Garrigank. Well, that's not quite true. The script may have been written by E. Jack Newman, but the musical direction was under the baton of Marianne Sadilek. And our sound man, Tom Lenz. The people who pretended to be Howard Duff and Lorene Tuttle tonight were Dave Sanchi as Sam Spade and Judy Marsh as Effie. Others in the cast were Dr. Kensington, as played by Andre Dixon, who also doubled as the bouncer Timmy, would you believe that? The hotshot nightclub owner, Chick Torpy, was Herb Thompson. And playing the part of Senora Cesar Bascar was Sue Gadzinski. The slightly spoiled heiress-to-be, Helen Scully, was the role taken on by Donna Amesmeyer. And who can forget that immortal part of the father, Casper Scully, who read his lines so beautifully? That was John Shefke. Just to let you know, we took pity on him, and we also let him speak as he turned into the second bouncer, Joe. Now, as for me, my tasks were the quadruple roles of tough guys, Danny Cavillo and Maxie, and I'm afraid I have earned all future roles that call for barking dogs. That's me, Jay Summerfield, and oh yes, I'm your announcer for this part of the evening too. Are you ready? Get wild, Root Cream Oil,
Charlie, it keeps your hair in trim. You say it's non-alcoholic, Charlie. It's made with soothing lanolin. You better get wild with cream oil, Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that you will have a tough time, Charlie, keeping all the gals away.
Hey, Charlie!
Get wildwood right away.
You believe I remember that? This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. You'll soon be tuned into our second radio show for the evening, so pour yourselves another cup of coffee, sit back, put your feet up, and we'll be back in just a moment.